It's Monday, March 20th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First up, we're going to chat with Kurt Gibbons. He is the principal at West Villages Elementary School. Then we'll learn all about the upcoming Red Cross Heroes Breakfast with Executive Director Hillary Green. And finally, we'll learn about trends in human resources with Tammy Jacobson. She's the director at Cape Cod Community College's Center for Corporate and Professional Education. But first, let's take a look at today's top headlines. The Barnstable Youth Commission hosted its third annual Youth Summit Friday. As part of the day, all Barnstable 7th graders were transported to Cape Cod Community College, where they got to hear former Boston Celtic Chris Herron talk about his battle with drugs and alcohol.
You know, I do this 250 times a year. I would do all kids if I could. I believe it's necessary, it's needed, I think it's welcomed. I think kids understand it at their level. I think kids walk into assemblies like this and they think they're going to hear this horror story about drugs. And we're going to talk about heroin on Cape Cod and overdoses and all the people dying. But if we really want to understand this and address this, we gotta focus on the beginning. And I think prevention is critical. I think adults have to be involved in this when it comes to children. I think, you know, a lot of the kids keep secrets and, you know, they really don't know how to address it. Nor do I think they're emotionally well enough to address this issue. You know, it's a tough world and it's a horrible illness, and professionals need to be involved when people are struggling with it. So, you know, if we early intervention is critical, and I think when kids are this age and they hear of a friend who's struggling, they need to get a teacher or an adult involved.
What a successful summit. Congratulations to all the Barnstable Youth Commissioners for hosting another successful event. Director of Leisure Services Patty Machado is getting recognition for her work in the Recreation Division. Patty Machado was awarded the Peter C. O'Brien Humanitarian Award by the Massachusetts Recreation and Park Association last Wednesday during their annual meeting. That award recognizes a park and recreation professional who has demonstrated the advancement of the park and recreation industry, is a respected member of the community, and maintains a strong dedication and passion to park and recreation in Massachusetts. Congratulations, Patty. What a well-deserved award. Tiki Port will go before the licensing authority this morning for allegedly selling alcohol to a person under the age of 21. The licensing authority will hold a show cause hearing for that offense. The licensing authority meets this morning at 9:30 in the town hall hearing room. The Barnstable Land Trust is working to preserve about 3.5 acres of land on Church Street in West Barnstable. The organization will go before the Conservation Commission today to request its support. The Conservation Commission meets tonight at 6:30 in the Town Hall hearing room. Up next is our Principal's Perspective segment.
So I'm Kurt Gibbons. I am the principal of West Villages Elementary, serving the villages of Osterville, Cotuit, and Marston's Mills. We are the largest K-3 school in Barnstable. We have approximately 458 students here from kindergarten through 3rd grade. West Villages Elementary promotes academic excellence for all students by providing an atmosphere that is inclusive and focused on creating problem solvers who are ready to lead the community in the future ahead of us. We are a community of learners and teachers who are committed to a positive, a safe, a responsible, a respectful environment for all that is constituted of parents and teachers and students who look to be socially aware, compassionate, and excited about learning and the arts. I don't want to overstate things, but our staff here are really committed to finding the best for every child. They are as passionate and compassionate group of people as you could ever find. Every one of them is committed to working together for the sake of all. They give 150% every day. It's not uncommon to see them here at late hours and on weekends, just doing for students and for their families. We have a long history of working for the community as well, and that's run by teachers and by parents. So a couple of years ago we did some phenomenal work with the American Heart Association and with Jump Rope for Heart and for a couple of different things. So it's just a very socially minded, nurturing atmosphere that really seeks the best for all. It's interesting, in schools I think we've started to finally make the shift from including technology for the sake of it being technology into more of a functional way of doing business. And what I mean by that is at one time a pencil was high technology, and now it's just a tool for doing what we need to do. We are starting to use a different variety of devices to do different things. So whether it's our students utilizing Kindles for an online book e-library, or it's a class using iPads for an online assessment, or it's a research center of laptops, or the teacher is leading through an activity through a smart board. You'll see all of those things at play when they're appropriate, depending on the content of the lesson. But no technology is going to replace the going outside and explaining why leaves change either. So it's a balance, and it's everything in its place and at the appropriate time for the goals that you have set for students. We've got a wildlife habitat in the center of our school, in our center courtyard, and so a number of our students will interact with how different bird feeders work and what that means for their migratory patterns and all of those types of details that involve the surrounding ecosystem that we live in. There's not too much that you face in the world that doesn't at its heart start on a playground too. Everybody wants their way, everyone wants their way now. So we have to learn to get along together. And when my way is different than your way, how do we find a way together? So those are some basic sorts of problem solving that we always do with kids. But even amongst the societal issues that are out there, all of our teachers in some form or another bring in some of the events happening in our community to talk about and apply the things that they're learning. Our current reading curriculum, which is published by National Geographic, has a lot of the science and social studies content that's applicable to their world for purposes of not only gaining bits of data, but how do we live and move and have our being in this world? I think that when students leave West Villages, I want them to be solidly prepared with the intellectual, the emotional, the social tools to go after the best that our education system, but also the world has for them. And so that's, when I talked about our mission being to develop our community's future leaders, that's what I mean, that they're able to not merely exist within a community, but take the initiative to lead the way in where we go next, because they're the ones to do it.
Now we'll learn more about the Red Cross Heroes Breakfast with Executive Director Hillary Green. Thank you so much for joining me today, Hillary. We have such a great event to chat about. This is one of my favorite events every year, and it's really because this is an event that honors so many heroes in our community. Tell me a little bit about the categories of the heroes that you will be recognizing this year.
Well, this is our 15th annual one, so I know what you mean. Everybody I talk to says, "Oh, it's my favorite event," and why it's a favorite is because we honor life-saving heroes. It might be a neighbor of yours who helped save somebody who collapsed at a party or at a restaurant. It also has professional heroes, though. So professional heroes like firefighters and police, I mean, they're heroes every day. But when they go above and beyond the call of duty, we recognize them too. We have armed forces heroes, same thing. They do their duty every day, but sometimes they just do an amazing thing. We have a youth hero. There's so many different kinds, and we don't pick them. They are nominated by the community. So all over our Southeast Mass, Cape and Islands area, nominations come in.
So heartwarming to see the stories of so many community members. And two, I think volunteers are honored for donating their time to certain causes.
Right.
And it's really a heartwarming event to see these people being recognized for giving back to their community.
You're right. And the community service ones, we honor people who've served our community in an extraordinary way. So I think it's lovely if somebody helped an organization for the past 30 years, that's wonderful, but somebody who impacts the entire community or over many different organizations, and the stories are just great. And we like to focus on that. And it's a feel-good event in the middle of always, maybe some bad news, but we always highlight the positive.
Yeah, you are not kidding about the fact that it is a feel-good event. And you have a great production there. So you have videos telling us about these heroes, and it really does take you inside and gives you a look at what work is being done. Tell me a little bit about your MC for the year and maybe your honorary chair.
Sure, yeah. So our MC this year is Colonel Virginia Doonan, Ginger Doonan, who is the commander of the 102nd Intelligence Wing at Otis Air Force Base. She's been a board member of ours for 3 or 4 years, and she's the first female commander. And she hates for me to say that because she's like, that's not why she's there or whatever, but it's true. She's an extraordinary speaker and a great leader, so she'll be there. And our honorary chair this year has been nominated several times as a hero because of the work he's done in battling the opiate addiction crisis. Sheriff James Cummings from Barnstable County has worked with the inmates to, if somebody gets convicted of a crime and is in there and has a substance abuse addiction problem, then he has a program that's been recognized nationally to help people recover, and then when they are done with their jail term, that then they're ready to face the world.
I think that would be so important too, because when we're looking at recidivism rates of people returning to prison or recommitting a crime, it would seem to me that drug addiction would be something you'd really have to break and really have to work on to really decrease those incidents of them returning to a life of crime. So, and we know so many times the drug addiction really can take over, and that's sometimes the reason they're committing the crime.
Of course, and this opiate addiction crisis has hit every part of all of our communities. And so we have 4 other heroes that we're celebrating their good works in a terrible thing. It's not a depressing, these are great, inspiring stories of mostly women who either this addiction crisis has affected their own family and they started support groups and leadership and ways to connect families to get them through such a terrible time. And then we also are honoring the Cape Cod Hospital Maternity and Pediatrics Department because they started a program for babies who are born addicted. And they've been recognized nationally also because they need to be treated a certain way. And this crisis affects all different levels of our society. And again, we're turning these into good stories. So you'll come and you'll hear a lot about these heroes who are battling something that is affecting us.
And you really do, when you come away from the Red Cross Heroes Breakfast, you have, it inspires you to really get going and maybe contribute yourself. Maybe you take a look and say, what can I do to help out? So very important breakfast. I also love that the breakfast is so early in the morning. It starts at 7, and that's to get everyone before they go to work. Feed them breakfast. They get a great breakfast. They get a wonderful, inspiring show to start the day. So this really is a great event.
Yeah, I did want to mention, because you mentioned about our volunteers, this is not a Red Cross Heroes Breakfast in the way that we honor just our volunteers. In fact, we very rarely honor volunteers, but this year I decided, because there were so many national crises that our volunteers locally were deployed to, that I'm honoring our Red Cross volunteers who were deployed to Texas and Louisiana, and kind of educating the community about what they do. These people leave their homes and go somewhere for 2 weeks, stay in a staff shelter or help people who've been flooded out or storms or tornadoes, whatever, and that's what they do. And they don't get paid for it.
And we hear so often people who experience crises like that, how important and how wonderful it was to have Red Cross there for them to lift them up in a time of need.
Right, it's sometimes just care and comfort. Sometimes we're handing them a mop and a broom to help them clean up afterwards, but a lot of it is just the care and comfort of our amazing volunteers. So we are telling that story this year, which we don't always do. It happens every year, but I wanted to highlight it this year.
Now also, all of the funds raised by ticket sales to this event, anything donated during the event, all of that really goes to help the Cape and Islands Red Cross, and I should say Cape and Islands and Southeast Mass Red Cross. It helps fund you guys. This is your main fundraiser for the year. So on top of it being a really inspirational breakfast and something that's wonderful for the community, it also really helps fund your organization.
It does. We don't do a lot of fundraisers. We're not hitting up people all the time, but we are funded by businesses and foundations and individuals who donate to our Red Cross.
Yeah, it's not publicly funded. Everyone should know that.
Right. Everybody thinks the American Red Cross, Congress, we are mandated by Congress to serve the community in times of disaster, but we get no funding. So, but what I love is that then it's the individuals, it's our community supporting our community. And it goes, and this is our biggest fundraiser. We hope to raise a lot of money this year by telling our story, but also giving you some really good stories to walk away with, and hopefully entice you to take a class, donate blood, donate money, become a volunteer. But you know, I love this event. You know, events are a lot of work, and right now all the details are making my head swim, but this is my favorite day of the year.
It's wonderful, and we should say too, I love the poster for this year.
Yeah.
We have a very special artist who has donated this. Tell me a little bit about this poster.
Well, Elizabeth Mumford has done this. This is her 4th year in a row, and she's a friend of the Red Cross, and she creates these watercolors, and usually she just does the life-saving heroes. She kind of tries to tell their story in a little drawing. This year she was able to create it and touch each of our 21 heroes, plus our guest speaker. And it's fascinating. She donates it. We do sell the prints at the event, and she will be there to sign them. But we know each hero is going to love seeing them portrayed by our local celebrity artist, Elizabeth Mumford.
So awesome. And then before I let you go, if someone's watching and they're saying, I want to get tickets, can they still get tickets, and how would they go about that?
Right. Yes, you can. You can go to our website, which is redcross.org/Hyannis, and you'll see a piece about the Heroes Breakfast. Click on that, and you'll be able to buy tickets online or call our office. But it does usually sell out. We've got a lot of corporate sponsors and tables filling up, but you'll want to be there. And
so get those tickets fast. It
definitely
is such a great event, an event not to be missed. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And
Thank you,
good
Sarah.
luck, and hope everything goes off smoothly for you.
I'm sure it will, but thanks for having us out here.
Thanks so much. My guest today, Hillary Green. She is the Executive Director of the Cape Islands and Southeast Mass chapter of the American Red Cross. Joining me now over the phone is Tammy Jacobson. She is the director at the Center for Corporate and Professional Education Center at Cape Cod Community College. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tammy. I know you have a lot to talk about. You guys are actually having some free seminars coming up to talk about some trends in human resources.
Yes, we are. So we have some free seminars coming up to help us promote our free workplace training grant. The seminars are Human Resource Trends. And we have an instructor coming in. Her name is Karen Rhodes. She's the director at Hill Group. And she's going to provide information on the latest HR trends for employers, CEOs, HR professionals, and CFOs in the region.
So exciting. What kind of businesses do you think here on the Cape could benefit from these seminars?
Many of our businesses, they don't necessarily have to be just the smaller businesses. The bigger businesses are able to participate as well. Karen will be going over a ton of information, sharing some best practices and getting different perspectives and providing those organizations with updates about HR trends, especially for 2017.
Yeah, very exciting. Want to talk to you, too, about the cost of this. Is there a cost associated? I see here that some people, if they qualify, could get access to these seminars for free.
So the HR seminars that we're running them in different regions. So we have them, for example, in Orleans and Hyannis, Plymouth, Wareham. We're trying to capture all the regions and on the islands. They're all free of charge to attend. We do ask that people do register. We have a registration link off our website for that. So they're free of charge. Then we'll also be talking about our workplace training grant that we have available through the college that is offered free of charge again at no cost to employers to provide training on communication, team building, and time management strategies.
Wow, such an awesome opportunity for businesses to get some of these, new, different, changing topics, information on these topics for free. Some of the topics listed that will be discussed: employment law, maybe changes to technology, some issues that they'll be thinking about. What are some of the other topics that they'll be discussing?
So sure, we're going to be talking about how we have tighter talent markets right now, and companies are really looking to innovate technology-wise and within their workforce. They're focusing on learning and employee engagement. So those HR sessions sort of lead us into the workplace training grant that we have at the college. We really tied them together to give employers that full holistic view at their employees and hiring perspectives and best practices with relation to human resources and keeping their employees engaged and retaining their employees as well.
Now, when you talk about training employees outside of this human resources seminars, what kind of training can you offer employers for their employees?
So we have a variety of training that we're able to provide employers. With our workforce training grant we received last December, we can provide a communication series, team building series, and then a time management series. But we also provide, on the other side of that, any on-site training that an employer is looking for. So we customize specific training to fit the employer's needs and bring it to their site to train their employees as well.
Wow. How many companies have taken advantage of that so far?
So in our last fiscal year of 2016, we had about 38 companies participate in that, and we're very excited to announce that we've increased that already this year for 2017. And we have over about 400 employees that have participated in training in the past 2 years at our center from different agencies. So we're really excited to be able to offer this free workforce training grant to eligible companies. And we're very excited to be able to offer it on the islands as well, not just in Hyannis.
That's very exciting. If someone was watching and saying, you know, my company, I'm very interested in this, my workers could really use some extra training, how can they learn more about this?
Sure. So if they would like to find out more information about either our workforce training grant opportunity or the HR Trend sessions, they can visit our website at www.capecod.edu/CCPE, and they can find out information there. If not, they can always call me directly at 508-375-5011.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, taking the time to tell us about these free seminars that are coming up in human resources, as well as some access to training for employers. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye. My guest today was Tammy Jacobson. She is the director at the Cape Center for Corporate and Professional Education. Now let's go ahead and find out what's happening around town in today's community calendar. The Barnstable Recreation Division is teaming up with the Cape Cod YMCA to offer waterfront and lifeguard training. Waterfront and lifeguard training will be available for ages 15 to 18 at a cost of $180. Junior lifeguard training will be available for ages 13 to 18 at a cost of $60. And I should say those are very, very low-cost training for lifeguards. Both programs begin March 28th. You can learn more about the program by contacting the Recreation Division or the Cape Cod YMCA. The Barnstable Senior Center will host this year's Vietnam Veterans Recognition Day. The gathering commemorates the day that the last American troops left Vietnam. All Vietnam veterans from the Cape and Islands are invited to join with their families. The event is free to attend. Please call the Senior Center to sign up. The Vietnam Veterans Recognition Day will be held Wednesday, March 29th from 1:30 to 3. And now here's a look at this week's board, committee, and commission meeting schedule. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great show for you. Tomorrow we will chat with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. We'll talk with DPW Director Dan Santos, and we'll get a look at some really adorable pets that are looking for forever homes at the MSPCA in Centerville. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.